Hello and welcome back to the Fellowship of Beer. I'm Nick Smith, I'm the Chief Beer Educator here and I love beer. I love beer so much that it's not only my job, it's my life. I love everything about beer, I love the history, I love the stories that come with it, I love the taste of it, I love the aroma of it, I love the whole culture of it. I love living this life of beer. Now, what's a wonderful thing about beer is there's a beer for every occasion. And here we are in winter. It's cold outside, it's nippy, the ice is clinging to the grass, the fire is burning in the hearth, the Christmas tree lights are up, and it's time to talk about winter beers. In the last video we talked about my love for imperial stouts and some of the origins of that. Tonight's beer is a bit different. Tonight we are looking at Schlenkerl's oak smoked Doppelbock. I have a bit of a soft spot for Schlenkerl. Apologies if you're German. A good theme of the Fellowship of Beer videos is Nick butchering pronunciation in other languages. And tonight will be no different as we delve into German Doppelbocks. Schlenkerl, again, apologies on the pronunciation if that's wrong. All their beers tend to have an element of smoke about them. Their famous beers are their Rauch beers, which are their beech smoked beers. The Rauch malt is smoked with beech malt. So they're very famous for these beech smoked beers, which can be controversial. They can be a bit of a shock to the system if you've never had one before. They can be intense, they can be meaty, and the people who say the worst things about them tend to make comparisons to hot dogs. The people who tend to say the best things about them say that they have this wonderful, rich, woody complexity. I'm in the later camp, not in the hot dog camp. They produce a Helles as well, not with smoked malt at all. It's a lager, a pale lager, but the fact that it's brewed on their same equipment just means it automatically picks up this intense beech smoked smell and taste, which I think is wonderful. Tonight's Doppelbock, Doppelbock being a double version of a bock, which we'll delve into soon, is actually not made with beech wood, it's made with oak wood. This is one of their premium beers. It's a special beer for special occasion. And what's more special than winter? Now, a bit of a note on glassware from the previous video as well. I always say to people, the best glass to use is the glass to hand when you're tasting beer. A lot of people can get very hung up on beer and the glasses to use, much for muchness. Generally speaking though, I prefer to use any kind of cheap wine glass because it has a funnel which directs those wonderful aromas straight into my nostrils. Wow, and I'm just assaulted straight away with this sweet, oaky aroma, followed by a little bit of sweetness behind. It's a deep chestnut amber colour, and the taste is everything that you would expect. It's dark, it's got a malt sweetness there, it's got a richness, it's got a complexity, it has that oak smokiness, and it has a little bit of acridness from that smoke as well, which stops the sweetness being very cloying. A very beautiful beer. Now, on the subject of me butchering foreign languages, one of the origin stories of the bocks that they come from the Rhineland in Germany, and when production of this moved down towards Bavaria, the accent difference, and they were actually meant to have been Einbeck beers allegedly, and the butchering of the local dialect turned it into a bock. Now Einbock translates into Bavarian as a billy goat, and that's why if you have a look at different bocks and doppelbocks, quite often you see the goat as a symbol of the beer appearing. These beers originated in the 1300s, and Schlenkerl has been a brewery that has operated since the 1400s. So quite apt that we're having this beer. That's what I love when we have a look and we delve into European beers at the Fellowship of Beer, because most of the beers we cover in Britain, and when we're talking about British IPAs, porters, and later English bitters and English milds, we're talking about beers that all grew up around the Industrial Revolution. but the history of Bocks and Doppelbocks and various European beer styles goes back hundreds of years earlier. So it really is a bit of a window into the past that makes it exciting. Now, the reason I've chosen this rich, complex beer as one of my favourite winter beers is because winter is all about sharing food, it's all about sharing drinks, it's all about having the family around the fire and eating some deliciousness. And I think this pairs wonderful with those little kind of Christmassy nibbles. Prepared here, this is a spiced British pastrami with some Turkish olives that have been prepared in some fresh lemon. And that's been served with a bit of brown sourdough. Now, the reason for that is because this is the kind of beer that I would want to be drinking on Christmas Eve as part of a buffet with the cheese, with the bread, with the crackers, with the cold cuts of meat, or, you know, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, any of those occasions that you're breaking out the snacks and nibbles. The lemon and the olives have acidity and they have saltiness and they have oiliness. Everything from this smoky sweet beer is opposite to that, and that strips each other away. It replenishes the palate, much like a lemon sorbet in between a course of a meal. Now, the pastrami, those meaty qualities, those smoky qualities, there we have an element of complementary taste. You know, they match with the rich oak sweetness of the beer, matches the rich, you know, meaty quality of the pastrami. Now, again, there's a salty element to the pastrami, and that saltiness and the sweetness of this beer play off each other. And as for the brown sourdough, again, that slight sourness from the sourdough just makes a wonderful rich complexity against those other grain kind of qualities that are present in this beer. Here at the Fellowship of Beer, we absolutely love talking about food and beer pairings. We love talking about beer history, and we would love to hear your beer pairings as well. We also love cooking with beer, so your cooking suggestions with an oak smoked Doppelbock would be gratefully received. We would love to hear what you would pair this beer with, and if that's something that you're really interested in, then please follow the Fellowship of Beer for more content, and especially in our courses as well. In the new year, we will be looking more in depth at food and beer pairings. There's loads of free content there as well, loads of free courses coming up. So follow us, subscribe us, and do all that YouTubey thing that you need to. And you can join me again very soon for another winter beer. Cheers. Thank you very much.